A year has passed, and we are here celebrating the New Year of Tiger. So the beginning of the spring is also the start of the 24 lunar items. It also marks the beginning of the new year. Yesterday, we have witnessed the much anticipated opening ceremonies of Beijing 2022. It has begun in this beautiful and warm beginning of the city, celebrating the Beijing as a host city both for the Summer Olympics and Winter Olympics. With the steps of the spring, the National Center for Performing Arts is also going to usher our first performance and tonight. So let's celebrate tonight's event with the Spring Orchestra under the baton of Conductor Lv Jia to dance together with ice and snow. In this special event, we have invited 3 distinguished guests. The first distinguished guest is General Manager Ren Xiaolong, who is from the orchestra team of the NCPA. So, Mr. Li, Happy New Year. Please give me the red package. So the second distinguished guest is Professor Lv Jia from the National Conservatory of Music. In the beginning of the new year, I wish you a Happy New Year. So the third distinguished guest is the chief of the orchestra team of the NCPA, Mr. Lv Jia. I wish you a Happy New Year and wish you a happiness in the year of Tiger. So I see that you have full of redness on your face. Yes, I'm going to open up my first orchestra performance in the new year. I'm really very proud of you. And yesterday's opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics, the orchestra team has been a part of the performance. Although I was sitting in front of the television yesterday, I was excited as those of my colleagues who is at the venue because as a part of the team and NCPA, I feel really honored that our orchestra team is performing while the calendar was lighted and all the music you have heard is being performed by orchestra teams from NCPA. I was very proud of my colleague, Mr. Lv Jia, and all of his colleagues and their performance during the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics. I think that speaking of Beijing as a host city for the Summer and Winter Olympics, I'm really honored to participate twice in both of the Olympics Games. I feel in depth that the Olympic Games is a very important part as well as the music and artists of the human race. They are inseparable and they are complementary to each other. As the orchestra teams of the National Center for Performing Arts and as a very important cultural platform of our country, we feel honored and pride to be a part of the Winter Olympics. You look so young. Is this your first time to be a part of the Olympics or is it your second time? This is my first time as a part of the Olympic opening ceremonies. What is the difference? Can you tell us? I think it is an extraordinary recordings, although they are working at the backstage, but our music is going to be heard for people all around the world. So during the preparations, we work really hard to every single detail to make sure the recording process is to the satisfactions of all the people across every corner in the world. I think the process is very smooth. As the composer, as the chief to pursue the excellencies, I think we really do went through hard times. So the orchestra performance and the musical performance we heard last night is the same bunch of performers who performed at the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics last night. So Mr. Li, I'm really proud for my colleagues as a part of the NCPA. They are standing on the shoulders of the giant, but they also carry the responsibilities to spread the culture of our country. I think that if one Winter Olympics is demonstrating every aspects of a country, I think we should be a part of it, and we should undertake these responsibilities. Tonight we are about to witness a musical performance with some of the elements of the Winter Olympics inside. I think we are going to taste it bit by bit in tonight's musical concert. Definitely, this musical concert is actually a series of the concerts which was held on the 5th of every New Year's. This is a brand that we have came up from last year. The Spring Waltz is a very simple and easy to understand term that we have came up last year. Spring actually refers to the Spring Festival that we Chinese people celebrated from our traditions. Waltz is the musical performing art, which was starting from Europe and popular across the world. So why do we combine the spring and waltz, these two elements, together within one musical concert? I think it derives from two ideas. From the ancient world, when we were celebrating the festivals, there's always some of the dancing element added onto it. The dancing at the festivals is always happy and light and easy to go. And I think this kind of musical concert is the best way to show it. The second part is that although the Spring Festival is celebrated by the Chinese, but is becoming more and more international with the development of our countries, with the intertwining of the different cultures. Today's Spring Festival is being embedded with the spirit of the modernisms and also the internationalisms. That's the reason why we came up with the Spring Waltz, to combining the Chinese element with the international element. Starting from last year, we want to build a new brand. Every year, we wrap up the experience to make it, to enrich it the next year. In this year's plannings and strategy stage of this Spring Waltz, I've been talking with my colleagues to attract more audience across the world by combining the different genres of the music and dance together. So how are we going to combining some of the traditional music and dance and performance embedded in this dialogue between the music, both Eastern and Western? I think we have some of the composers which is very familiar to your name. We have the John Schutterwas. We also have the Darabak and also Mahler from the Western world. We also have the Fengyao Huagu from the Chinese. This is the traditional Chinese dancing. I think this musical concert is not only going to send you the musical culture, it is also going to let you understand the Eastern world and also the Western world. How do we dialogue? How do we speak with the Western world? So, Mr. He, can you give us some of the interpretations of the basic musical knowledges? We make the musical pieces. No matter you understand it from the traditional Western style or the Oriental style, we are not going to understand the dance as a single element. In the Western music, no matter from this dancing piece or this kind of the other different musical piece, the music is a part of the dance. So the music is demonstrating how will the Western people see the chord, how will they see the rhythms. It is nothing like the traditional Chinese music. We emphasizing the rhythm. So when the Western world hear these typical rhythms, typical chords, and typical structures, they will understand that it's a dancing piece. The rhythm is nothing important. So once you have heard the Western music, like the 3 steps and the polka, which is 2 steps. So what kind of rhythm? So can you give us? Definitely, we call it 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, and for the 2 steps, it is like something similar. It's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2. This follows the same patterns of the 2 steps. There is enormous changes of the rhythms, but they have to regulate the rhythms. And there are so many modern music, including the Baltnevs. It is following the rhythms and structures of the dancing music. That is to say, the Western music and the Oriental music have different perspectives toward music. So when we talk about the ethnic groups of the Slovakia and also Czechoslovakia, These are the people who composed these local musical styles, but at the end, it is a part of the orchestra teams. For all of these ethnical teams, they have these strong musical colors which is being performed in our concert. The Chinese people, especially our language, follow the single pattern syllabus. That's the reason why the traditional Chinese music language is very peaceful in terms of the rhythms. It is very symmetrical. 2 steps, 4 steps. But when we are talking about dancing, it is always follows the single numbered pieces. It needs to be finished within 3 patterns. The 2 patterns is very symmetry, but the 3 patterns music is very flowing. And if you see the Korean people, they do follow these patterns. Professor He, how as one of the major composers in China, he do talk about the essence of the music. When we are trying to perform the Fengyang Huagu, we do really like it. It is celebrating the Chinese New Year with a Chinese element inside of it. It is moving you up, moving you forward. It has this kind of kindness in China, the warmness and the harmony in between. And these special musical pieces of the Fengyang Huagu, it is also a modern work. It has been written by composer Huang Yong. That is to say, it is a musical piece combining with the features of the modernism and also the current spirit. While it is a traditional Chinese musical piece, I do hope that when the audience is enjoying the musical pieces across the world and you are listening to the Fengyang Huagu, you will feel that this is going to be the taste of the China. It is just like what we have said in the poem of the Song Dynasty. When you are searching for the people in every corner of the world, you turn your head and they are right behind you. Fengyang Huagu is a special minor music combining the traditional Chinese opera and the traditional dancing. But how do you move the activations of these orchestra teams? As the chief, when you are playing the team, it is different. Let me give you an analogy, because tonight's musical orchestra is focusing on the dancing teams. When we are going to dress differently during the different dancing performance. We definitely is going to dress differently. It is just like the performance method while we are playing it. When we are playing the waltz, it is going to be easy and happy, very cozy, relaxing. But if we are playing the music pieces of the Schroff or the music pieces of Hungarians, just like Professor Hao has mentioned, it is nothing like the ordinary waltz. There is a sense of density inside of it. That is the work of Bormus. He has this kind of a thickness in his musical pieces, but he cannot get rid of the style of his composing work. When we are playing his work, we are going to change methods of the playing. It is just like we come back to the backstage and we exchange the clothes. The musical style, it is like you have changed your styles, you have changed your clothes. Although you are playing it to the right styles, can you really play it to the authentic taste? It is going to be under the joint effort of the conductors and performers. After multiple times of the rehearsals, we are going to present the real meanings of the musical pieces. I think it's going to be something that we are going to focus tonight. Although it is not going to be watched by our eyes, it is going to be a feeling of the music. Music is a people. It is like dancer dancing toward you with different folk clothes. We have really personal musical memories. Professor Hao, the musical memories for the folk music. What is your folk music? I think it is going to be the ethnical musical pieces of the Shanbei. It is just like the small trumpet. It is the Chinese people's. I think it is just like the openings of the Spring Festival Gala. And speaking of that, the Chinese people have this thirsty for the rhythms. I also came up with another question in that in the traditional Shanxi music, what is like the best part of it? They have a moderator who is actually holding an umbrella in the parade. He is going to say it. Like he see a very beautiful young lady, he's going to say something nice to her. And in this kind of musical themes, in this kind of impromptu musical performance, they can come up with the wording at any times, but the rhythm is also going to be remains the same. It is just like what kind of a wording that you are going to come up with. And all of this parade is going to follow the moderator, and then we change it to the performance and the orchestra. It is not only in the Spring Festival. If this kind of music has come up, it is going to vibrate my DNA as a Chinese people. That is what we call the echoings. The music is being played in the external world, but you have something inside. The music is actually connecting our blood vessel together. There are two works tonight. Is not going to enlighten our music, enlighten our ears. We also have some of the innovations. And the eyes, we have invited some of the performance of the central dancing teams. And also we have some of the small performance at the middle school performance from the conservatory school. And if you are going to go to the golden halls of the Viennas, once they have performed, all the typical architect is going to be lightened up. Our National Performing Art Theatre has such a very good facade. Through this musical concert, we are going to have a global musical journey, both verbally and both. You are going to enjoy the beauty of music, enjoy the beauty of dance, enjoy the beauty of innovations. And every year's music we have three anchors, and one of them has to be the Ludwig. And they also have the blue donuts. This is something of a must. So can you tell us? So what is the anchor for our musical concert tonight? Let's guess on behalf of our audience. Professor He, we are going to guess it together. I think definitely they are going to play the Radeski. And it's like playing the weight with the audience. I'm definitely going to give you this musical piece. But I'm not going to give you the old one. I'm going to impress you. I'm going to move you. You will think that is it, but that's not it. It is something with the Chinese features. One thing that we are going to remind the audience is that we have speaking for many years. We have talked about one musical thesis run for many years. It is one of our memories of the Spring Festivals. I do like this feeling that when we are speaking of something, we are really spoil something. I do really want to have some of the surprise during the performance. It is going to move the whole audience to jump together, to enjoy themselves together. But one piece of the music, definitely they are not going to move all the audiences, and they are going to make them laugh. Definitely, on the second item of the orchestra of the music performance, it's very special. Some of the audience do come to see some of the international orchestra team come to China to perform in a very light and in a very humorous manner. But in the state of a time, it is going to remind you the hustle and bustle of the cities, the rapid working pace of the city life. But it also reminds us, even if you are working in a very rapid manner, there are endless happiness inside of it. There are endless humor inside of it. On the dawn of the Spring Festivals, while we are on the 5th day of the Spring Festival, we are going to throw up the troubles and problems in the past years. I think when the music comes out, we are going to understand what it is. I think that if I continue the interview, I am going to present you the whole musical concert. I hope that you have all kinds of expectations. Tonight, let's start this journey for the Spring Waltz musical concert.
边给大家演奏一首我们中国的节日戏曲。
下周六同一时间，线上演出将为您呈现国家大剧院制作京剧电影《天下归心》，由孟广禄、陈少云、李明岩、史一红、朱世慧等京剧大师联袂出演，表达中国古人血浓于水的孝道亲情和家国情怀。